commander of Hezbollah's rocket and missile division, Ibrahim Quibsi, was killed in the IDF strike in Beirut, sources say. Well, you know, play with the ball, you get the horns, mate. What do you want me to tell you? Right, here, let's look at the video of that. And, yeah, the old, the Israeli Air Force has been insanely freaking cool. Holy crap. We'll look at that in a second. Man, they look, you know, it's not, I don't think it's being warmongering. So you train all your life to be a fighter pilot, and suddenly you're actually doing it. Oh, it's not a training, it's not a test, you're ready. And it's like, it's really weird because it's so egalitarian. However, so often, you know, the person flying the sort of is like a super hot, like, Bar Raffaelli, Gal Gadot level Israeli chick. It's so weird, like blonde hair. Hi, yes, we just executed. What? Anyway, yeah. So apparently, looks to me like Lebanon is shitting itself. I said this yesterday, right? We're looking at Lebanon, it's just like fuck me, fuck. Everything's fucking failing. And it really is. They are not doing well. Man. Oh, no. The page blew up so many people. I don't give a shit. Oh, I mean, like, how much more targeted can you get? Oh, the hell. Do it. Let me see if they got this on from Talk TV. They Julie Hartley Blue. Tear her apart, this ignorant cunt. Oh, wonderful.
تراونا صاروخ بالغبير صاروخ هلا تراو البناء.
Yeah, look, mate, all I'm saying is maybe we should have started firing lots of rockets at us, right? Looks to me like you guys are fucked up the arse right now.
كلها صاروخ يا شباب.
All right, that's a pretty darn targeted attack. So they're flying these like really cool sorties in I'll read the report. Over the past day, the Israeli Air Force fighter jet squadrons conducted hundreds of operational sorties in order to remove threats to Israeli civilians, and degrade Hezbollah's terror infrastructure and capabilities in Lebanon. They're blowing up all their shit, basically. Right? My son was telling me, look, the trouble going into Lebanon, they're like, we're really dug in. And we know that the defenses they're just very hard to beat, and it's going to take casualties. I think they're blowing them to shit, is what I get. Approximately 2,000 munitions were used, fuck me, on approximately 1,500 terrorist infrastructure targets in southern Lebanon and deep inside Lebanese territory. Israeli Air Force fighter jets are continuing activity on conducting strikes even this time. Yeah, so look. This is like some footage they release, which I don't know. I think it's cool. Yeah, this is what refueling. All right, I didn't think that's cool. I'm sorry. That shit is like this is like Battlestar Galactica shit. I'm very impressed. Right, there you go. Yeah, no, I'm quite happy about all of this. Right, I don't get the hand wringing. Genuinely, I don't. It's like, what do you think you do in a war? It's so weird, right? How dare you attack people just because they declared war on you? I don't know. I just reckon killed Hezbollah missile chief as rockets Pummels Hezbollah. That is true. That is true. At UNGA, Biden describes horrors of October 7th, urges Israel and Hamas to accept ceasefire. And they've actually got a ceasefire deal I agree with, right? They'll let what's his name? The leader, I can't even remember his bloody name. Sinwar. They'll give him safe passage out of Gaza in return for the hostages. I think that sounds like they're in like, you know, somewhat of operational command at that point. Oh, got it. Oh, this will again. She is so clueless, so smug, so ignorant, and so sure of herself at the same time. It's Amazing.
Were involved in those deaths. And obviously we're told by the Israelis these airstrikes are aimed on military targets. They have warned the innocent people of Lebanon to remove themselves, they're not in the way of these Israeli rockets. Israel's got a perfectly good right to defend themselves.
So let's back it up a bit.
To London to chair an emergency Cobra meeting on the current situation in the Middle East. Many people fearing...
Why do they call it Cobra? It's just to sound cool, right? You're not cool.
That this is actually going to explode into an all-out war. Well, let's talk about this right now with Fiona Lally. She's a pro-Palestinian activist. She's also National Campaigns Coordinator of the Revolutionary Communist Party. Good
That's lovely. Oh, what lovely company.
Good afternoon to you.
Hello.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us. I mean, this death toll is obviously horrific. We know that women and children are included in this, although the Lebanese authorities haven't released how many Hezbollah militants were involved in those deaths. And obviously we're told by the Israelis these airstrikes are aimed on military targets. They have warned the innocent people of Lebanon to...
You have another target, a military target, then name the system. I grow tired of all this. Where is the rebel base?
Prove themselves they're not in the way of these Israeli rockets. Israel's got a perfectly good right to defend themselves. They've been bombarded with rockets from Hezbollah since October the 8th, the day after the Hamas massacre in southern Israel. They've got every right to hit back, haven't they?
No, of course not.
Of course not. They're Jews. You don't understand. Jews. They don't have a right for anything. Just to die.
What has happened over the last week are acts of terrorism by Israel. This is mass terror where hundreds of innocent men, women and children have died. I mean, 50...
No innocent men, women and children died. I mean, yeah, some innocent women and children did die, but mostly guilty men. But the vast majority, guilty men. Right, who had bits blown off themselves. They're guilty men. All of them, they were guilty men, weren't they?
Children, I read that today, have died.
Oh, you've read it. So therefore, it must be fucking true, because they always tell the fucking truth.
Result of these attacks and these airstrikes, and it is absolutely outrageous. And to try and justify it in any way, as you have done, and many in the West have done, in Western media.
I mean, again, it's called war, which they started. This is what wars look like. Julie, I think you.
Hypocritical and outrageous.
Why is it hypocritical and outrageous? I mean, Israel wouldn't be firing rockets into southern Lebanon if Hezbollah, a major militant and proscribed terrorist organisation which has control of a lot of southern Lebanon, had not already started firing rockets into Israel.
It's hypocritical and outrageous because...
I mean, it's a fair point, right, which he never answers.
Everyone knows that if this sort of attack had happened, first of all, with the pagers and then the walkie-talkies, and this innocent people had died, if this attack had happened in any other country and had been performed by someone other than Israel, we know...
Nobody would have given a shit. Right, they would have gone, that pager shit is damn clever. Right, nobody else would have been able to do the pager thing. I'm sorry, right? Yes, wouldn't. But, you know, you'll be like, nobody will be like, oh, no, the military targets got hurt. Oh, no, nobody would give a shit, would they?
Exactly how Western media in chorus would come out to condemn and talk about how Lebanon right to defend itself against these outrageous attacks.
Well, it would depend who those... I mean, going back to the pager attacks and the walkie-talkies, these exploding pagers and walkie-talkies bought by Hezbollah, a proscribed terrorist organisation, for their militant men to be used as a way of contacting each other, to basically to keep in touch. I can't think of anything that is a more targeted attack than this. We understand, we believe Israel hasn't claimed responsibility, but that we believe there's
it was us. I'm not speaking in a physical capacity. We did that. But it's such an Israeli thing to me. It's like, no, I just stand here. I'm just standing here. All those things blew up. What can I tell you? I don't know. Maybe you should want to walk on. There's nothing there. But somebody was again. He was taking a tour by Gaza, right? There was a big like aircraft hangar which they like built overnight, and all the Saturday. And he was like, "What's going on?" Is it? There's nothing going on there. No, there's nothing there. Oh, maybe that's looking dodgy. Yeah, let's see how long it lasts, baby.
Mossad was behind this. I mean, it seems to me targeting the militant fighters of a terrorist organisation is a perfectly legitimate act in warfare.
They blew them up in public in supermarkets.
Oh, how awful! They did it in public. How terrible! Yeah, why is that wrong?
Civilians and.
Civilians die in war. I'm going to have to break this to all the people who are so upset about what's happening in the Middle East. Civilians die in war. The only reason lots of Israelis don't die, other than on October the 7th, is because they have the defences to prevent those rockets from killing Israelis, and 60,000 removed from their homes in northern Israel.
We have bomb shelters too, I mean, in all fairness.
Best way of stopping civilians dying in whether it's Gaza or indeed in Lebanon is if Hamas or Hezbollah stop firing rockets at Israel.
You say, oh, people die in wars. And
no, people do die in war. That's what war is. But like, ask the question: why can't they just stop firing the rockets? Give the hostages back. I mean, how many is left?
Very sad. Isn't that language of terrorists? Why do you refer to
it's the statement of fact.
Why do you refer to dead innocent children as collateral damage?
No, that is literally collateral damage is the military term used for civilian deaths.
I love that she just goes straight for this emotional argument, and it's just it's just bouncing on Judah's like, shut up, just no, stay on the point.
Yeah, or it's the price that Western imperialism is willing to pay in order to maintain its main ally in the region, which is Israel. Let's be clear.
I mean, now she's like,
Israel is allowed to get away with murder. Israel is allowed to get away with terrorism.
I would say that Israel is held to a far higher account than any other country, by the way, largely autocratic, horrific regimes in the Middle East, which apparently don't bother a lot of people like you who've never seemed to criticise those regimes. It's held to a much higher account than the British military.
I mean, I'm glad it's been going on so long now that normies are starting to notice, right? I'm kind of happy about that.
The American military or any other ally?
We're talking about this because the British government and British imperialism supports Israel because the British government and British imperialism, alongside the US, helps fund Israel and supply them with weapons.
Yes, we help supply and support a friendly nation state.
The majority of people in Britain do not support the supply of weapons and funding to Israel in the manner that this government does. It's totally undemocratic, and people want to organise against that, which...
Undemocratic? You just voted in your pussy Labour government and making everyone's life hell. Oh my God, they're never fucking happy.
I 100% support. And involved in that process is calling out the double standards and the hypocrisy of the media and presenters.
I would say the double standards and the hypocrisy is actually on behalf of people like you who hold Israel to a far higher account than any other Arab nation in the...
And she's really about to nail it now. Oh, boy.
Middle East. But also, then you hold them to we should hold them to a higher account than the terrorist organisations. I mean, do you think that Hezbollah was justified in starting to fire rockets into Israel on October the 8th?
No, not to what I'm hungry yet, but yeah. See her not answer this question, right? It's incredible. She just doesn't answer the question.
Is that justified?
It's not about justifications. It's about understanding what's happening and why.
I understand what's happening. It's a simple question. Were they or were they not justified to start firing into Israel to hit civilians in northern Israel?
The reason this is happening is because Netanyahu wants to force a war throughout that entire region.
So Netanyahu forced Hezbollah to start firing missiles at us. How did he do that? That's impressive. And if he can do that, why doesn't he force them to fire them at Hamas or Iran? Right? That would be really cool. I want to get Iran to fire them at China. Like, how's he do that? That's really cool.
There's not, no. I'm asking you about what happened on October the 8th, because the only reason, if you seriously think that it's in the Israeli people, the Israeli government's interest for there to be a war on two fronts at the moment, I think, Frank, you're not quite understanding how war works. They did not start the war with Hezbollah on October the 8th. Hezbollah did that. That was their choice, prescribed terrorist organisation that, like Hamas, backed by Iran, funded by Iran, and believes that Israel has no right to exist, and indeed that Jews have no right to exist. Oh, yeah, and anyone else, including infidels like myself, have a right to exist. Do you think that Hezbollah...
Okay, is it wrong to point out that, I mean, like, she's cracking on a bit, Julia Hartley-Brewer, but man, she's got wonderful cleavage. I mean, I am somewhat distracted because, really, genuinely, and I don't mean this with disrespect, but... bravo, right? I keep wanting to, like, you know, put a rose down there. Well, no, I guess not a rose of thorns. I don't know, like a flower there. I was like, I just, you know, as an act of appreciation.
Was justified when they fired rockets into Israel at civilians on October the 8th. Yes or no?
In whose interest is this war, this drive to war? Netanyahu, that's it at the end of the day.
I'm no fan of Netanyahu, but that's not the point. He didn't fire the first rocket, did he?
Why do you want to see an end to rockets and all of this kind of stuff? Presumably because you want to see an...
Why? Because we don't want rockets fired at us. You dumb cunt. Really? What? Why do you think... What? Why do you want to see an end to the rocket? Because it's hard to live when there are rockets fired at you constantly by people... who are racists, who hate you because of your race, right? Yeah, it's not fun, darling. Oh, my God.
And to death and destruction and everything that's taking place. But why is it happening? Why is it happening?
Why is it happening? You tell me.
For decades, Western imperialism has meddled across that entire region because it wants to maintain access to markets. And
could you imagine what family dinners are like with this girl? Fuck me.
Resources. It is absolutely clear.
You think we've got a say over what happens in Saudi Arabia and places like that? Are you kidding me? Have you seen oil prices?
Up to the US government if you want to talk about Saudi Arabia. We're here talking about the terrorist attacks that Israel has conducted in Lebanon, which has killed hundreds of people.
No, these weren't terrorist attacks, because terrorist attacks are aimed at civilians. These weren't. These were targeted at terrorists themselves. Hold on a second. What did you make about attacks on Al-Qaeda fighters, militants? What about attacks on ISIS militants? Were they terror attacks when the West killed those people?
Listen. You're not interested in actually talking about...
Listen. I'm not going to answer your question because you can't, honey.
Terrorism, what it is, or
no,
where
I don't think you know what terrorism is. A democratic nation state defending themselves, targeting terrorist militants who are firing rockets at their civilians. Responding to that with a targeted attack is not terrorism. Under any use, I mean, unless you're just going to make up every single definition of a word, that's not terrorism.
Israel is not a democratic state.
Israel's not a democratic state. So what?
I mean, like again, then why do we vote for stuff?
All those Israelis, including Arab Israelis, by the way, who go to vote in the polls, are they are they imagining that?
You know, even within Israel, I don't know if you've seen, there have been mass protests against Netanyahu and against what...
Wait a minute. People in a democratic country protesting, and weirdly, unlike any other country in the Middle East, not being shot by their own soldiers or arrested. How incredible. So it's a democratic state. So do people go and vote?
They were arrested, and actually I'd say the Israeli state is responsible for...
People who committed crimes were arrested. Do people go and...
Yeah, people do go and vote. She still never answered the question about were they justified to start firing rockets, right? Like, again, her brain can't comprehend these things.
Do people go and vote in Israel? Do they vote?
Yes or
no? No, you just told me that they're not a democratic... You think that Israel are terrorists, they're not a democratic state. I'm waiting. You haven't used the word apartheid yet. I'm waiting for that one.
Well, thanks for bringing it up.
Oh, there we go.
The point is, you mentioned Israel's right to defend itself and all of this kind of stuff. If Israel's right to defend itself is based on the slaughter of tens of thousands of people all around it, continuous terrorist attacks,
Hamas fighters around it, and
honestly, I wish it was tens of thousands. I don't think we got like 17,000. I mean, yeah, I would love it to be tens of thousands. Yeah, I'm all up for that, darling. But yes. That's what happens when you start wars, you dumb fucking cunt. And we would have lived side by side with you in peace. Nobody cared. Right? If you guys didn't, if they didn't buck up your ass about how much you hate fucking Jews, we would have like towns, those towns would have a mosque and a synagogue and it'd be fucking fine. It's just because you cunts hate Jews. And Jews must always be evil. Man, it's just projection. Everything you believe evil about the Jews is really about you, right? And you're just so fucking dumb, right? Like it says, Israeli strikes to kill 558. Good. You know, I'm happy that number. I want to see that number go up, and I want to see the number for my people not go down at all. Not go up at all. Well, anyway, I would like to see that at 0. Yeah, I would like that. Right, that'd be fantastic. I don't care if you add 5 fucking noughts onto that. Whatever it takes, darling. Right, 5 noughts. That's a lot. Yeah, it's like 1 billion. Yeah, no, 5 billion. No, I guess not that much. But whatever. A nought or 2.
the Hezbollah fighters,
of course, it doesn't have the right to do that.
Yes, it does. Oh, they absolutely have the right to slaughter the militants for terrorist groups who wish to.
You were just a mouthpiece for Western imperialism. You were just a mouthpiece for Israeli state-sponsored terrorism that is killing hundreds of people.
Not terrorism. I'm not a mouthpiece for anyone. I just know right from wrong. And I'm pretty sure that most right-thinking people are on the side of a democratic government, which isn't an apartheid state, and not on the side of terrorists. You appear to be on the side of the terrorists.
Yeah. I mean, again, were you on board with the rapes and the murders and the torture and the brutal beheadings of children? Were you on board for that? Fucking moron cunt.
Which has conducted an attack on a party, whether you like them or not, in a different country to attack them. That is not a democratic action. Of
course it is. We're a democratic act. We don't say, do you want to vote if you're going to get attacked? You guys decided to start a fucking war, and then we blew your balls off with your beepers. And then we did it the next day with your phones, right? You guys, if I were you, I'll just go away and lick your wounds and say sorry. But fuck me, not anymore. I think your guys are going down, right? I think you guys are fucked, and you fucking know it.
They're not. They're not a party. They're a prescribed militant terrorist organisation.
Sorry?
They're a prescribed militant terrorist organisation.
Okay.
What do you think that Britain should do? Let's imagine a scenario where Britain was, for instance, let's say French militants arrived in Britain and killed, raped, mutilated, tortured, and killed 1,200 of our people and took 150 of them hostage to France.
It was more like 250. But anyway, there's supposed to be 100 or so left. There's probably about 50.
Meanwhile, Germany decided, let's just say the nearby country, Germany decided to bomb, Norfolk or something. Okay. What would be an appropriate response by our imperialist state to those crimes? What would we be allowed to do in Fiona Lally's world?
Okay, that was absurd. Rather than talking about bizarre hypotheticals, let's talk about what.
Here's the thing: stupid people can't work out hypotheticals, right? And you'll see this. You see this quite a lot. She can't conceive of a hypothetical, right? And like her brain can't. It's incredible, right? She's so fucking dumb.
What's actually happening, which is Israel wants to drive a war throughout that region, and the British government. Let's talk about Britain because that's where we live. The British government is going to support.
No, Israel would like there to be no war. Again, I like what's in it for Israel for there to be a war on many fronts, right? What's in it for me, for my kids to be on the front fucking lines? What's in it for us? I mean, other than it stops you murdering us. What's in it for us?
support that. The British government is going to go along with whatever the US government wants and whatever Western imperialism in the whole wants. And I want to organise people against that, against
I know you
British
want to do that, but
imperialism. And
what would be an appropriate reaction if the same thing happened to us? This is my question. What would be an appropriate reaction for us if that happened to us?
It's not happening to us.
There you go. But she can't do it. She can't work out the hypothetical.
If you understand the concept of a hypothetical.
No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't, Julia.
You say that what Israel is doing is not justified. I'm asking, what would be justified? So if it happened to us, what would we be justified in doing?
There's no justification.
Is that concept too complicated for you?
No justification.
There's no justification.
What it did historically.
There's no. Okay, leave out that's what I'm saying. Take it away from Israel. If Belgium was invaded by what would be allowed by you? What would be a reasonable response that you wouldn't call terrorism?
You say to take it away from Israel, but this is the problem with this.
Now this is the issue, isn't it? Because it's Israel.
Yeah. Now she nails it. Right now, she totally nails it. And again, cleavage is excellent.
Israel is the problem, isn't it?
You don't want to talk about the truth of what is happening. Yeah, the Israeli state and what it is doing
is the problem. Why Israel of all the nations? Because virtually all of the nation states in virtually all of the countries in the Middle East had their lines drawn in the sand by a British peer. Why is Israel the country that bothers you so much when you've got wars being fought by Saudi Arabia in Yemen? Tens of thousands of innocent civilians dying there. Assad bombing and killing, torturing, maiming his own people in Syria. What we've seen in Iraq.
Again, tens of thousands.
What we see in Iran right now. Women being subjugated, tortured, just for not covering their hair. Why is it that uniquely it is Israel that
just nailing it.
seems to irk you so much?
Because uniquely, Israel is funded by Western imperialism, both historically and today. And I live in Britain, which historically played a massive role in the propping up of Israel and continues to do so today alongside the US.
That's the reason. That's the reason.
Answer your question.
Do you know, I'm going to be honest with you, Fiona. Time's against me. I could do this for the next 2 hours, but I've got to go to a break. I don't believe you, and I don't think anyone watching or listening to this believes you.
Exactly. Right. We all know you hate Jews, darling. We all know it.
Okay, thanks.
No, I'm just going to be honest with you. Fiona Lally, pro-Palestinian activist, national campaigns coordinator.
And totally not anti-Semitic. Oh, no, that'd be great.
To the Revolutionary Communist Party. Very interesting. We've got to go to a break. We come straight back. This is Talk, the home of common sense.
Well, that was actually worth going to trouble for. Look at that. I'm quite chuffed about that. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.